This our second take. I ain't gonna stop this time, Tim. I promise. No matter how bad I am. You know, as I sit here today, and I'm thinking, I got so many things running through my mind right now, trying to figure out which ones to get it out. But I want to thank God, man, for a second, and always start by giving the Spirit of the living God his just due. And I think I needed to stay there because, man, just waking up in the morning has become one of the greatest realizations of gratitude that I've ever encountered and understood. Just being able to move and have the activities of my limbs has been such a eye-opening experience, because sometimes, man, you can find yourself complaining about things. You can find yourself in a dark place when you should just thank God through it all. I'm telling you, man, I've witnessed the mindset shift. I'm witnessing it right now. I'm living it right now, shifting my mind. The physical sight hasn't changed, but my spiritual sight is not the same. I don't see things differently. I see things differently. I think about them differently. I'm confronting my suffering forthrightly, nobly. And I always petition God for greatness. God, let me be great. God, let me be great. But greatness carries great frustration. Right now, we have an athlete that's going through a turbulent time, Morant. Many of you know him. Imagine the pressure this kid feels. I think we talk about the incident, but sometimes we don't talk about what leads to the incident. Underrated in high school. Nobody seen him. Nobody wanted him. Imagine the frustration. Because Ja Morant knew that he was Ja Morant before we knew or accepted the fact that he was Ja Morant. Imagine that, because greatness carries great frustration. Going to Murray State, have it improve himself over and over again. They finally see. He finally busts through. Now the chip is on his shoulder. Now he's playing, and all these things are coming out. You don't know all of the pressures that he felt, he was going through, he was dealing with, because his greatness was stalled. Because he was always this. Somebody missed it. Imagine what that did. And then finally getting to the highest high. It is sort of a FU. You know? He said it best. Y'all switched up. Stay on that side. We can't understand this situation just from the mistake. We got to understand there's a robust complexity to this. Ja Morant wasn't a LeBron James. He didn't have a straight shot. It wasn't a Zion. It wasn't a straight shot. It wasn't an Anthony Davis. It wasn't a straight shot. That's why you see guys like Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, with that chip on their shoulder and the way they play, because they was overlooked. But they always knew they were them, because greatness carries great frustration. I've often characterized greatness as some euphoric feeling of extraterrestrial abilities, but it's really a sustaining of oneself. That's what it is. It's a sustaining. You sustain what you know God put inside of you, despite what you see on the outside of you. What a dichotomy. Greatness carries great frustration. Imagine Christ. Imagine Christ. The weight of the world on his shoulders. Everybody doubting him. That he's doing miracles. You watching him do it. And people still doubting him. His own people still doubting him because greatness carries great frustration. 7 years, Michael Jordan fought and fought and fought. Beat up by the Pistons over and over and again. Couldn't get there. Will he do it? See, sometimes we see the result and we covet that, but we forget the journey. Everything is all about the journey. It's never been about the result. Imagine the frustration Jordan felt, knowing he knew he was Michael Jordan before we knew he was Michael Jordan. Imagine that bowler inside of you, and you can't get it out because greatness carries great frustration. Mandela, 27 years. 27 years locked in prison. Greatness carries great frustration. We lobby God. We lobby God. We lobby God. Give me a great anointing. Give me a great this. Give me a great that. Can you sustain it when it's restrained? Because you can't use greatness all the time. It's a state of being. It's a white hot space. It's glory. You can't stay in that all the time. It will damage you. That's why when you look into Hollywood and when you see famous people, sometimes they turn to hard drugs. Sometimes they turn to adverse life, and they turn to all type of things because they're in this spotlight with cameras on them all the time. Could you imagine the pressure all the time being seen? Your life is on display all the time. No man was meant to ever have that much glory. That was always meant for the great I am. Their greatness carries great frustration. I watched Chris Rock rebuttal to Will Smith slapping him. And could you imagine what Chris Rock felt like on TV being violated? National TV, millions, millions, and millions, and millions, and millions of fans watching. And we're in the information age, an explosion of social media. And now we're in the age of AI, where there's no privacy. Everything is displayed. And he knew it. Everybody watches the Oscars. He has a family. He's respected in his community. He's built this portfolio up to be one of the greatest comedians we've ever seen. Also an exceptional actor too as well. And in one moment, something altered. Now I'm not talking about the moment. What about after? How he must have felt. We got a chance to see it. Because he got the frustration out. So it was two brothers that got on TV that was carrying great frustration in that space they live in, and they exploded. That's the difference with Christ. He was under excruciating pressure, a 40-day fast. Could you imagine that? You remember that? It was some African preacher that tried to do like a 20-day fast or 15. He died. 40 days. Christ, 40 days. The fate of the world is in his hands. He's human at this point. You got to think about that. And he's in a human body. And he's feeling the pain and the suffering of the entire world, those who accept him and those who reject him. Could you imagine the pressure? Because greatness carries great frustration. Knowing that his name would be slandered, knowing that everything he did, even his selflessness, would be taken for granted. He had to carry the frustration. But the end thereof was glory. We ask for greatness, and I always talk about it. And I don't want to be cavalier because I always say it, and I want to make clarification what I mean when I say greatness. Because a lot of men, a lot of women, a lot of people want to be great. They want to be set apart, want to be set above, but there is a responsibility. Power comes with responsibility. Greatness comes with responsibility. You have to be above reproach. And it doesn't matter what you be great at, whether people deem it important or not, as long as it is important to you. Greatness carries great frustration. And I'm not saying this just to say it. I'm saying this because I'm living it. And I want to be like Christ with my frustration. I want to give it to God. Take this cup from me. God, I can't do it. Humility. Serving. You can serve the depression out of you. Serve the anxiety out of you. You can serve those things out of you. I know it. I'm a living witness. Serve your life. Give yourself an opportunity to be great. Take care of yourself. Take care of your finances. Take care of your family. Take care of your friends. Don't expect anything back. Because your confidence shouldn't be in man anyway. See, that's where I lost focus. I started looking at something other than God and his direction for my life. When you're postured, because here's the thing about opportunity. It never tells you when it's coming. It never gives you a warning sign. That's why you have to be prepared. Preparation is important. It's the key. So many levels it takes to get from good to great. It's such a distance. You go beyond the expected. Because in the state of greatness, you're expected all the time. I remember when I worked at Verizon, Tim. And at that point in my career, I had started to hit my stride. Every day, every week, every month, I was getting better and better and better. It was like I was working unconsciously. I was working to the point where I was like, man, it became like a drug. I had to have it. It was just illuminating out of me. It wasn't the product. It wasn't the company. It was my gift. God allowed my gift to manifest itself in that arena. And I was on full display. But I got to the top. I reached the plateau. I was number one, solidified. And I remember about in year 3 being number one. And it felt good at first. But greatness carries great frustration. Because you can't stay in that white hot space that long. You got to shift and transition. or you will make an idol out of it. So I stayed too long. And then what was once fun became work. It became, oh God, I was still performing, but it didn't give me any more satisfaction. Because greatness carries great frustration. And that's when I learned that greatness is not indicative of having feelings about what you're doing. It's a sustainer. It doesn't matter what I felt. I owe it to God to be great in every arena that I put my feet to. I owe it to him because he gave me breath. And if I'm great, it spreads to other people. Yes, it carries great frustration, but it also carries great rewards. You make more money when you're being great at whatever you're at. You have a better sense of self. You know where you're going. You won't be treated a certain way. You feel a certain confidence or air about yourself. People respect you differently. You're able to get in different rooms. You're able to politic differently. Greatness does come with great rewards. And I wanted to emphasize more tonight about the frustration because I don't want to romanticize this. We all have the ability to be great, but I think it's time for us to start taking strategic steps and understand what we're getting ourselves into, understanding the atmospheres, the environments upon which we pray and want or ask God. Because remember, we don't fight against flesh and blood, spiritual wickedness, principalities, and high places. And that's important to say because the enemy is always watching. It's always lurking, seeking to and fro whom he may devour. And every time a word is spoken, something's coming in. Every time somebody sees something over your life, something's coming in. It's tough. It's hard. It's excruciating. We get to it. But greatness carries great frustration. It's such an honor to be able to sit here to speak with you guys today. You know, taking my time a little bit because I'm reflecting and thanking God because, you know, it could have been another way. Navigating the aisles of life, navigating, moving, trying to figure things out because I'm seeking greatness, because I'm on the pathway to it, because it's something I got to have, because I know that I'm Steve before you believe that I'm Steve. I know that I'm Steve before you've ever believed that I'm Steve, because I know what God told me. So when I say greatness carries great frustration, I'm not talking about it existentially. It's intrinsic. It's here. It's built inside of me. My God, I can see it. I can feel it. It doesn't matter what I'm dealing with, and I'm dealing with stuff. Listen. This is not somebody just telling you. This is not a fable. This is like in the moment. See, I'm willing to put it on the line. This is different. This is why I'm different. You know, this is why I'm different. This is why I'm going to win because, you know, I know God is with me. So I'm right here and you're going to watch my growth. You're going to see me grow from here to here to here to here. It's going to happen. I'm going to win. I got to win. And I'm not talking about winning in terms of beating somebody else. I'm talking about becoming the absolute best version of myself every single day in every single category, socially, spiritually, economically, emotionally. It don't matter what it is. I want to ascend to excellence. I want to chase perfection. I want to be the best. I'm carrying the frustration, but the process is the reward. Because whatever happens, whatever the outcome is, it's not up to me. It's not up to me. The outcome is irrelevant. Because being able to walk with God every day, being able to get back to myself every day, being able to have faith, even if God, don't speak a word or say anything that day, even if I'm walking like, bro, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's going to happen on this day, but I'm just going to live in the day, and I'm going to carry that frustration because I got to have it. And I know you want it. And I know it's a lot of people out there in this world who want to be successful, but sometimes you just feel like the greatness that you carry inside of you is being stifled by the situation outside of you. But you can't look outside of you. You got to get to know you within. This is faith at work. I'm talking about faith, but I'm describing it in an academic way, in a way that we can understand it, not just telling you to have faith. The works is what I'm talking about. You got to overcome your mind. I had to overcome my mind. I had to get to the edge before I overcame my mind, but I got to get to the edge. See, now it don't matter anymore because I'm just walking with God, because that's the only approval that I'm going to accept anyway. Greatness carries great frustration. We will win. One way or another, we will win. I'm telling you, and I'm telling you, we will win. As a collective, we're going to win. We're going to change the collective conversation in our communities and communities all around the world, because we're not comprehending each other. We're communicating, we're talking, but we're not comprehending. We're not understanding what each other's saying. Family's going to come back together. People are going to start to become whole again and use their gifts, because we're here to use our gifts to glorify God. And in that process of doing that, you meet people, and people are affected by your gifts, and you're affected by their gifts. We're going to dissolve the hyper individualism. We're going to dissolve the hyper individualistic society. Come together. We're going to speak to each other in public. We're going to be kind to each other. I'm going to put those things over the airways, because we want to start speaking the collective conversation, and keep speaking it. Keep talking it. Don't stop talking about it. I know drama sells. I get it. Drama. Everybody loves drama. But how much? How much? It's driving us insane. Because our greatness carries great frustration. The children of Israel wandered for 40 years because they knew they were the children of Israel, but they couldn't get out of their own way, because they had idols they were serving that they had to get out of their heads. We have idols we're serving. Whatever you serve in your life, whatever you do the most is what you worship. If it's your phone, you worship that. I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking about myself. Breaking habits. All of those things. It's going to get us to greatness. But when we get there, just understand that greatness carries great frustration, but the process of greatness is the reward. Thank you guys for being with me tonight, man. It just was an honor to talking to you. And I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm only going to do about 25 minutes, and I have a strategic reason why I'm only going to do 25 minutes. And I'm new at this. You know what I mean? I'm new at this. You know, I'm getting better every day. You're watching me get better every day. You're watching me muster up the courage that God gives me to get up in front of you guys and just humbly try to be a light or inspiration or, you know, anything of that nature. But I appreciate it, you know, you guys for bearing with us, man, because we are an organization that's going to continue to grow. We are an organization that's going to figure it out. We're young. We're new to this, but we're going to do it the right way. I'm not in this for fame or glory. I just want to make an impact on my community, be a better man in the process. So I appreciate you guys joining us, man. But listen, hit that subscribe button. The Deep Surface Experience, okay? the deep surface experience. You guys have a great day.